Okay. We are, in fact, live. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the traffic services page. I have, of course, a very special guest today, Chief James Raimer. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, Sean. How are you doing?
Well, I'm not hearing you. I've done something. As much as I said that we're all good to go, I've got to make one change because I've broken something. Okay. Okay, I think I can hear you now again. I've unbroken it.
Okay, we good to go then?
I think so. It's not working anywhere the way I wanted to do, but I'm rolling with the punches. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad, Sean. Thanks for inviting me to be on today.
Well, really appreciate it. There's so much to talk about. We've got lots of stuff that's going on in our city all the time, and we really appreciate all the support that you show traffic services and all the things that we do. But you've really been a big supporter. Why? What is your connection, or what is your feelings behind traffic safety?
Well, I just think it's a core policing responsibility, and when I was appointed chief in August of last year, I indicated that one of my priorities was going to be traffic safety, and that's when we made some realignment and added the officers to the Vision Zero program.
And so Vision Zero came into play, and then the most amazing team was formed, Vision Zero Enforcement Team, which has done some amazing work, and we recently received an award. The team was recognized by the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police.
Yes, a very deserving award in recognition for the tremendous work they've done over the preceding year, and it's been great work focusing on the big four: speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and of course impaired driving.
And just this past weekend, we released numbers. It's ride season's out. We've got our Vision Zero Enforcement Team that is always out looking for those folks, as you said, the big four, the behaviors that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. And the team goes after speeders, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers. But the ride program is doubling down on all of that, focusing through what's ride season. But it's funny, people really think that ride season is only part of the year.
Yeah, no, I guess that is a misconception by many, but RIDE is a all-year program. I think you see more media attention and focus on it during the holiday season, but it's really been something that, in fact, was originated with the Toronto Police Service. I think back in 1977, it was reduced impaired driving in Etobicoke, started by then Staff Inspector Crawford. And of course, it's changed to reduce impaired driving everywhere now, but it's been around for quite some time.
It's let's see here. It's amazing how something that started in Toronto really has taken over and is province wide, and where it's something that we should be proud of. That is, it's beyond just a name. RIDE really does go out and protect people out on the roads, making our streets safer. This past weekend, the Toronto Police arrested 22 drivers for impaired-related offenses, and that's just to that is simply doing ride programs. But we're always looking at impaired driving on the roads. Now, if we look at some of the statistics, if we look at some of the stats for impaired driving for offenses, let me see here. I had some notes. I don't usually have notes, but I have notes today. Speaking about Vision Zero, actually going back to Vision Zero for a moment, we have 18 officers that utilize all sorts of vehicles, and some of those vehicles were recently added. Two of them in particular. Remember, it was a special delivery.
Yeah. Oh, you're referring to the addition of the two unmarked Chargers that Superintendent Baptiste and I drove down from Fleet and introduced them to the members. Yeah. it's something we're doing. I mean, it's really, and we announced it. We made a big display of them publicly, and through, of course, the work that you're doing, Sean, on TikTok, to let the public know, let them know that we're going to be out there, that we're going to be enforcing inappropriate driving, and but to be let the public know that, if you're going to be involved, particularly in the big four, we're going to find a way to address it and ensure that you're ticketed for that kind of behavior.
And when you talk about tickets, it's amazing. Year to date, we've issued 95,000, actually just over 95,000 speeding tickets, if you include stunt driving and speeding across the city. That's a tremendous number of tickets issued, but it goes to a problem that people aren't following the rules.
That's correct, and it really does reflect that. And this is a small number of officers, as you mentioned, Sean, that are specifically involved in these numbers, and it just speaks to the extent of the issue that we have in the city, and why it's so important that these officers are doing the work that they do.
And we really appreciate them. It is an undervalued, I guess, section of the police service. It's not the we finally got our TikTok kicking in. You're now live on TikTok as well, sir. There was a little bit of a delay. So just to catch everybody up who's just tuning in or just sees the chief for the first time, Chief James Raimer of the Toronto Police Service is joining us live on TikTok. He's also on our other platforms of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on. So for those who just joined, that's who you're looking at. And we're discussing right now Vision Zero enforcement team, the fact that traffic services is maybe the less glorified section of policing, but it serves a really important role to keep our roads safe. Sorry to reintroduce. Sorry, sir, to interrupt, but you were saying.
Yeah, no, I'm just I guess really re-emphasizing what you have been saying, Sean. It is as I said earlier, a core policing responsibility, traffic safety. When you think about it annually, the numbers of people killed as a result of traffic accidents in the city of Toronto alone often compares with and exceeds our homicide numbers. It's a very, very significant number. I think our total as of Monday this week was, I think, 58 dead, and 23 of them were pedestrian. It's a very, very significant number that has an incredible impact on people. It's something we need to do our best to prevent.
It's exactly that. The communities, individuals, families that are affected by a collision, even minor ones, are staggering. And it's people who would, for no other reason, if it hadn't been for a collision or an event on the road, would never have been involved with a police investigation. And we really go out and help people who need help. It just isn't what most people consider important, I suppose, or less appealing. They don't make movies about traffic officers. Oh wait, there's chips. There are chips.
Yeah, well, you know what, too, yeah, to your point, I mean, it's the officers that see the carnage. It's the ambulance drivers and the fire department that see the carnage. And of course, the people in the hospitals that have to work on the victims and try to save their lives. And then we have to go and confront the families with the tragic news. And it's, at the end of the day, it's an event that's preventable. And so I think the education, the awareness, the enforcement are things that we have to be involved in. And, it's about preserving life.
And one of the big problems we're seeing recently, or it's been actually for a long time, is handheld communication devices, cell phones. The fact that folks seem to be unable to put them away and leave them in their glove boxes or out of their reach. And we've seen an increase in the penalties for those offenses. Some people are suggesting we should take licenses away forever, because no one's getting the message. But now we're at $615 for a fine, 3 demerit points, and a 3-day suspension. I'm sure you've been seen that when you are out on the road yourself, other people using their devices, but. I think a lot of people forget that this is on par with impaired driving in terms of the effects of their use.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Sean. I mean, I have no sympathy for anyone with respect to the penalties. I mean, the reality is, and I've heard the phrase coined by a police officer. You know, it's impaired by cell phone. And how often do you see that? You can identify the vehicle driving ahead of you, that you can basically tell that the officer or the individual is engaged with their on their cell phone, and you get up beside them, and sure enough, they are. And I know when I'm in my vehicle, we make a point of pointing it out to drivers as well what they're doing. Like it is very unsafe, very unsafe.
It's interesting. We had some video footage, a dash cam that was sent to us, and it was of a car all over the road. They were northbound on the DVP, and they got onto the 404. It was completely out of the lane into the shoulder, back and forth, and we did a poll on TikTok. Do you think it's an impaired driver, or do you think it's a distracted driver? Well, it turned out it was a distracted driver, because eventually the vehicle was stopped and investigated, and it was simply cell phone use that was so egregious and so wild that everyone thought it was, or the majority thought it was impaired driving, and it was, just not by alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
We bounced around a little bit. I was talking about ride season, and the fact that it's an all year round program. I have some stats. We actually, not including the 20 that we arrested over the weekend, but we have over 1,748 impaired related offenses so far this year, and that's really much higher than it should be. Obviously, zero is the goal, based on people shouldn't be doing it. But it's amazing how that, though we've been educating for years, we aren't seeing the benefits.
Yeah, you know what? It's very important. I want to thank the officers for being out there. They're out there on the coldest days. I know I'll be out there on New Year's Eve again, and I usually visit some of the spot check. It's cold out there, but they're pleased to be out there, and they recognize they're doing a very important job and how it's contributing to public safety. And you know, here we are at a wonderful time of year coming up, and what could be more tragic than something that was preventable? Somebody that shouldn't be driving they've been drinking, or someone dying as a result of a tragic accident. And I can't emphasize it enough. And you know yourself, Sean, we've been there and had those conversations with the family members. It's just a terrible thing to be involved in such a waste. So we don't want people doing it. And we are going to deploy the resources and some additional resources, particularly during this time of year, to reduce it as much as we can.
It's not that we don't want people to enjoy life, have fun, and celebrate. We want people to do all of those things. We just want them to make responsible decisions when they're finished enjoying themselves. And there's so many different options, especially in today's day and age, from local transit to taxis to designated drivers. But getting behind the wheel of a car or motor vehicle of any kind is simply not acceptable. It's the most preventable of offenses, and it's the best way to avoid tragedy, because we can't plan what's going to happen after you make a poor choice. It's the poor choices that trigger for everything that happens next. Talking about poor choices and driving behaviors that tend to have negative consequences. Recently, the MOMS Act, Moving Ontario's More Safely Act, came into effect, and we've seen a couple of staggered additions to the Highway Traffic Act. The first one being that we saw an increase from 7 days to 14 days for vehicle impounds when vehicles or drivers are charged with stunt driving. And then on September 12th, an additional suspension term of 30 days now. And that's upset some people, obviously people who are potentially at risk for being charged and having that suspension. But additionally, there seems to be a specific, I suppose, unhappiness might be the right word, about the fact that the Highway Traffic Act now applies to, or at least this charge now applies on private property for stunt driving. And it's been, I guess, a long time coming to address a specific problem, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, I agree with the legislative change, and in fact, we supported it. It's being involved in stunt driving is extremely dangerous, and you know, as I indicated earlier, it's always the emergency services that have to come up and pick up the pieces of some of these poor decisions people have made, and it's totally unnecessary. It's preventable. You're operating a vehicle, that it can cause great damage and inflict incredible injury, and you have to do it responsibly. Operating a vehicle is a privilege. It's not a right. And, our society requires that you operate in a fashion that's safe for you as an individual and safe for all the people around you on the road.
One of my favorite questions that it comes up on a regular basis on TikTok, and that's what is the percentage that you can legally exceed the speed limit? And people are shocked when we tell them that they're not allowed to exceed the speed limit. There seems to be some belief that, well, when I'm speeding or it's an emergency or I have to go to the bathroom, or that there's always going to be some permissible 5, 10, 20-kilometer allowance, and they really don't like me when I tell them that they can't do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the reality. We do have speed limits, and that's what they're there for. I think, quite frankly, the vast majority of our officers around the province and officers anywhere exercise a lot of discretion on in some of these areas, taking into account all the circumstances. But for the vast majority of cases, I think it's all very reasonably enforced.
One of our users on TikTok has just commented and said, "What do you mean I can't speed? Not even a little?" But they were joking. They're kidding. And thanks for the comments. I appreciate for a lot of the viewers that are used to having a really open dialogue where we answer their traffic questions. This is a unique experience where we get to have you, sir, on the air with us. So we're not able to answer everyone's individual questions like our normal. We'll be back tomorrow to do that. But speaking about what we do on social media, we're Monday to Friday answering questions, Q&A style. We have hundreds and hundreds of people that come in on all platforms asking questions, and we've pivoted to a very heavy online presence on social media, and it's been fantastic. We just went over, actually, I think we're at 203,000 followers on TikTok alone, but we're of course on other platforms as well. We have 41 people that are currently watching across YouTube and LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on. So this has been fantastic. People often ask, is this where we're going? Is this the new the new way that we will communicate with people? Equally, we get some people who say, why aren't you out on the road catching bad guys? Why are you on social media talking to me?
Well, let me just start by saying, Sean, I think what you've initiated and are doing here is tremendous. I mean, it helps us reach a very broad audience. I mean, social media is a way so many people get their information now. It allows you the opportunity to educate people, make them aware of what's happening in the circumstances, what the police are trying to do with respect to enforcement, keeping them apprised of what's going on. And I think at the end of the day, it's about public safety. And so I really support and really want to acknowledge you for taking the initiative to do this. I
Thank you,
mean,
sir.
I've learned about this program, through my own kids and my wife. I had no knowledge of it. I'm not a big social media people, and maybe when people look at me, they'll understand why. Like, I'm a different generation, and so I'm just trying to get up to speed. But I think it's tremendous what you're doing, and I applaud you for doing it.
Thank you very much, sir. And on that, maybe we should get you doing some TikTok videos at some point. We'll have to get you onto the platform and do some stuff.
Well, maybe you might convince me to do that.
Okay,
You can try.
We'll work on you. The truth is that we couldn't do what we used to do, which was go in person to trade shows and events and barbecues, because they weren't happening for the last couple of years. So it left a huge emptiness where we couldn't engage, and this gave us an opportunity to not only engage with new viewers and answer questions like we would have done very naturally on the street if someone just walked up and asked us a question. And that's really what we're trying to do, make us accessible in a safe way. And it's one of me or one person behind a camera and many viewers. So it's been tremendous, and we've had great feedback, and I appreciate your kind words. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about? Because we've covered so much in a short period of time, but I know you've got a very busy day, and I don't want to keep you longer than you need be.
Well, Sean, I think I'd just like to, just with respect to this social media issue. I mean, I think the HTA, the Highway Traffic Act, it can be confusing. Sometimes the terminology is not easy to understand, and so I think you generally are making it easier for people to understand. So in my mind, this is a valuable service for the public. And again, it's a very broad audience, and they've got an opportunity to visit this venue with you on a regular basis to ask questions. if they've seen something happening, and they're getting it directly from the police. And I think that connectedness with the community is so important. So I think again, I applaud you. I can't believe where social media has gone, and I think it's only going to continue to expand in the future. And I encourage the organization to keep doing this kind of public information sessions that helps connect the police with the community and make the community safer.
And we're going to do just that. We want to keep doing it. We want to expand and do more things and get more officers involved and just make it the best that it can be. There's so much that people are asking about, and we've been speaking to the employment unit. They want to get on TikTok. They want to essentially advertise the fact that we're looking for good officers who want to become a part of this great service. So we're taking advantage of the opportunities, and we'll keep growing and keep doing that. Just a couple of folks have dropped in to say, this was the wrong button I pressed, but we've got Sam Jiv who says, good day and hail to the chief. Let's see here. One viewer says, I follow the TikTok, very helpful. Let's see here. Apparently my touch screen doesn't want to cooperate, but we've got folks from all over the GTA who are actually making comments here right now. So it's fantastic. I'd love to be able to acknowledge everybody. They're coming in fast and furious. There's so many messages. But I know you've got meetings coming up. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank you again for spending time with us. It's really an honor and a privilege to have you with us. And maybe we can do this again with fewer technical difficulties, because I think I've worked it out now.
Okay, no, that's excellent, Sean. And I want to thank you for what you're doing. I think it's a great public service to be involved in this. This is my first exposure to TikTok. I'm not online, so you're my TikTok guru.
I'm happy to wear that title. I wear it with pride. With that, I think we're going to shut it down. Thank you again, sir. We'll let you do, I guess, all that important chief stuff that you do.
Okay, thanks so much, Sean. You take care, and for everybody else there, drive well and be safe.
And maybe we'll see you again before the holidays, and we'll do a holiday message of some kind.
It'll be my pleasure, Sean.
Awesome. Thanks again, sir. Take care, and I'll just stick by with a couple of messages for everyone else, and I'm going to take you off camera now. Okay. That was the chief of the Toronto Police. That was amazing, and so cool that we could. Let me just send Vincent a quick message to let him know that the chair is empty, but there we go. It is gone. He has ended the live. So that chief of the Toronto Police on TikTok, that's a first, officially the first. If you witnessed it here, you have witnessed it for the first time anywhere in the world, at least our chief. So really, really cool. We did have some technical difficulties that sort of delayed our going live, and I apologize for the shaky start, but we'll be back tomorrow, a regularly scheduled 9 o'clock at my desk, doing what we do, answering your questions. And our TikTok apparently decided not to work anymore, and we're back. I'm gonna sign off TikTok because it's apparently going to not cooperate. I'll come back and do some more with you guys later on, but we're having issues, so we're shutting that down. For everybody else, thank you so much for spending time with us. We'll be back on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, all of them tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. till 10 a.m., answering your traffic and police questions. You can, of course, watch this again if you wish, but we are going to try and get the chief to do a TikTok. See if there's time. All right. Take care.